Hey everyone, welcome to day 4 of day camps and welcome to our crafting session. Today in our morning session, we learned about two people and their responses to God. We learned about the rich young ruler and we learned about Zacchaeus. Does anyone remember what the difference between their responses were? Well, the rich young ruler came up to Jesus and said to him, "Lord, what do I need to do to be saved?" And Jesus at the very end told the rich young ruler that he had to give up everything he had to follow him. And the rich young ruler went away very sad. Zacchaeus came to Jesus wanting to see him and climbed a sycamore tree so he could see Jesus because Zacchaeus was very short. Jesus called Zacchaeus down and said that he would go dine at Zacchaeus' house with him. And Zacchaeus, without any prompting from Jesus, said that he would give half of what he owned to the poor, and that anyone who he cheated, he would give back fourfold because he stole from people as a tax collector. Jesus didn't ask Zacchaeus to give away all that he had, but Zacchaeus happily decided that he would. When we come to Jesus, we have the same decision. And when we see Jesus for who he is, as the Son of God who saved us from our sins, our hearts will want to give and give beyond what we even have. We will want to give up everything for him. And he gives us the freedom to be joyful while we do that. And he gives us the strength to do it. Today we're going to be making a Zacchaeus climber to represent the way our hearts become when we truly encounter Jesus. The Zacchaeus we're going to color is going to look a bit different in this example. But this is him. So to make this, and it looks like not much right now, but we're going to put it on a door to make him climb up later. So to make this, we will want our Zacchaeus template, or if you want, you could draw your own Zacchaeus, or you could even draw a picture of yourself to represent how you would like to be in coming to Jesus. We'll need some cardstock to put behind Zacchaeus, so he's a little bit weightier when we lift him up the tree. We want scissors, pencil crayons, 2 plastic straws, or 1 depending on how big your Zacchaeus is. This weirdly cut popsicle stick. This is where we'll tie some string on, so we'll want string, tape, and 2 beads. Make sure they don't roll off the table because then you might lose them. So let's get on to our craft. So our first step is to color Zacchaeus, and you can color him any color that you want. I am going to start coloring him now. If you color outside the lines a bit, that's okay because we're going to be cutting Zacchaeus out later. So you can always cut the color that you accidentally colored outside the lines off. And if you don't have pencil crayons, you can use markers or crayons, or I guess if you want to paint it, you could probably paint him, but anything that gets his colors down. For his clothing, I'm probably going to use some bright colors because as tax collector, he was probably pretty wealthy, probably had a lot of money, so he probably could get some really nice clothes. I'm saying yes to you and no to my desires. I'll leave myself behind and follow you. I'll walk the narrow road 'cause it leads me to you. I'll fall but grace will pick me up again. I've counted up the cost. Oh, I've counted up the cost. Yes, I've counted up the cost, and you are worth it. So now that Zacchaeus is colored, we're going to cut him out. If you're not confident cutting on the lines, you can leave a little bit of white space around him. But if you're confident cutting on the lines, or if you've colored out the lines and want to cut that color away, you can cut directly on the lines. I do not need safety as much as I need you. You're dangerous, but Lord, you're beautiful. I'll chase you through the pain. I'll carry my cross, 'cause real love is not afraid to bleed. Now that Zacchaeus is cut out, we're going to either glue him or tape him onto the cardstock and then cut him out after we've glued him down. I'm going to use some tape because I don't have glue with me right now. So if you use tape, if it's double-sided, you can just stick it on, but if it's one-sided, you can fold it over into a little foldy tapey thing, and it becomes double-sided tape.
I've conjured up the cost. Oh, I've conjured up the cost. Yes, I've conjured up the cost, and you are worth it.
Yeah. Once you've got Zacchaeus glued down, you can cut him out. If you want, again, you can stick right to his lines, or you can cut very roughly around him, whichever one you prefer. I am probably going to cut rather roughly.
Jesus, take my all, take my everything. I've counted up the cost, and you're worth everything.
You can put your paper that you cut out, the cut out parts that you don't need that aren't Zacchaeus, you can put them to the recycling and clear it off your table. We get to make him a little climber now. We're going to take 2 straws, or I think 1 straw might work for me. Yeah. Okay, if it's one of these funky straws, you can cut this top off right underneath the expansion bit, so that you have 1 solid straw. And with this solid straw, cut that straw in half. We're going to put a V on our Zacchaeus' back, and it can be anywhere you really want it. Somewhere near his middle is probably the best, so I'm going to put mine right there, right where his arms meet his body. And we'll tape that down. And the other side. With our string, you're going to want to make sure that you have enough string that it can come out the bottom here and reaches far enough up that you can tie it to something at the top. So that looks like a good length. And if you cut too much string, it's better than cutting too little of string, because you can always cut the extra string off. So with 1 string, you are going to thread it through 1 of the straws till it pops out the bottom. And this is where your beads come in. This bead will thread into the string, and this is going to make sure that the string stops where the straw is at instead of coming all the way through the straw, just like that. So that's 1 of them, and then take your other string and do the same thing with the bead at the bottom. Put the bead on and double knot it. And the double knot makes sure it's extra secure. If you need help knotting the bead, you can find a parent or a sibling, and they should be able to help you. So now we're going to work with the top of the string. Zacchaeus, put him down there. And here are the tops of the strings. We want them to come out nicely parallel to each other. And this is when we'll tie it onto the popsicle stick. So you can choose any of these grooves to tie it onto. I like using these big grooves because they're just very easy to work with. And you just tie it around this groovy area. And you want to double knot this one as well to make sure that nothing falls out. And do the same on the other side. And try and make sure that the strings are pretty even when you tie them. They don't have to be perfect, but keeping them relatively even is always a good thing. So that's pretty good. And for the loop, we're going to cut some more string. And this is going to go around your door handle. I'm going to tie this string to the center of the popsicle stick. And if you want, you can glue this down to make sure it's more secure, because there are no little wedges in there to make sure that happens. And up at the top, we'll also tie a knot so that you have a circle to place over your door handle. You might want to measure this around your door handle to see if it can actually get over the handle. You might have to retie it a few times if it can't. There we have our Zacchaeus climber. But how does he climb, you might ask? Well, let's go find out. Here we have our Zacchaeus climber on the doorknob. He actually worked pretty well. I tested him once, but I'm going to show you guys how to pull him up and then let him down. So on the back, you see there's the V. We're going to pull it out sideways at a nice, not straight down, but at an angle so that it catches like that. So I'll show you from the back first. If we pull him out, you see how he climbs up the door and he goes back down? We're going to do that from his front view. Woo! And there he climbs. He climbs up and Jesus says, "Come down, Zacchaeus." And he comes. That's our craft for today. Be like Zacchaeus and not the rich young ruler. We'll see you guys tomorrow.